So hi friends, welcome to the Lazy Busy Gamer. In this video, we are going to talk about data types in Python. This is the third video of this series, this playlist, okay? So let's create our Python file. Just right click on your desktop, new text file, name it anything that you want. Just remember to remove the txt from the end and type py. Click on OK, then search for IDLE, open it, file, and open desktop and the file. Click on open, Windows plus right arrow, left arrow, and we are done too. So now before moving on towards the coding part, let us go on a web page. Let me explain you the theory part of this. So Python has various data types. For example, numbers, string, and Boolean. Okay, these are some basics. Python has various data types, but these are some basics: number, string, and Boolean. Let's talk about this. This is important. So numbers are now further divided into two categories. One is integers and another is doubles. Now what are these? For example, if I talk about integer just means 1, 2, 100, and then 50. So basically integers means whole number. So it doesn't has this decimals, okay? And if I talk about doubles are example 1.0, 1.5, 2.5, 2000 point 200, 2000 point 50. So these are doubles, okay? So I hope you understand what is integer and what is double. Now let's talk about string. So strings are whatever you type in this single quotes, your name, anything. Single quotes or double quotes are strings. Okay, now let's talk about Boolean. There are only two values available for Boolean, which is true and false. That's it. So Boolean has these two values. True means true, false means false. Now, to understand Boolean in much better way, let's understand the concept of and or. Okay, so let's understand what these two things are. So and means it is an operator now. Forget the English version of and remember it's an operator now in Python. So if I talk about true and false, operator in the sense like plus, minus. So how 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So like this only and is also an operator. Let's talk about it more. So if I keep true and true, so the output is true. True and false, the output is false. You just have to remember this now. You don't have to, there's nothing to understand in this. You just have to accept the fact that true and true is true. True and false is false. You just have to accept the fact now. And basically means if both sides are true, then only it will give true, and both sides, if either of the side false is there, it will give false. Now understand the logic of OR operator. So if true and true, OR will also give true. But if there exists multiple false and only one true, the equation becomes true. And if both of the things are false, it will give false. And also will, if both of the sides have false in it, it will give us false. Don't worry if you're not able to understand this. We are going to do practical soon. So you just need to understand this part and this part for the Boolean logic. Okay, don't worry, we are going to do the practical part soon, but for now just accept accept this fact. Okay, false and false is false, true and true is true, true and false is false, true is true, true or false is true, false or false is false. Just accept it for now. For what? For Boolean values. Okay, so now let us move towards the practical part of coding. And don't worry if you see I'm using light theme here. How I did it? I click on options, configure IDLE, click on highlights, and just select this option and OK. You have multiple things. Okay, cool. And I also want to tell you one thing, that if either you use light theme or dark theme, it doesn't matter. It will not damage your eyes. The only thing important is night light. Okay. And the plus point of dark theme is that it will save your battery. But light theme is better in the if your environment has light in it, and if your environment is dark, you better use dark theme. And honestly, it doesn't matter. I've done the research, and it doesn't matter if you choose light theme or dark theme. But for YouTube videos, light theme is much more visual, so I'm gonna use it. And it doesn't matter for your eyes. So chill and relax. I myself use dark theme for coding because my environment is dark. Let's continue. So first, let's just talk about numbers. Declare a variable and store 5 in it. Declare another variable and store 5 in it. Okay. So now you can see that I'm not using double quotes. If I use double quotes, it becomes a string now. So we don't have to use string double quotes for numbers. And I'll print num1. Let's see what output it gives to me. It gives 5. Now if I print num2, it will give me 5. Cool. Now I can add num1 and num, and it gives me 10. So isn't it cool that we can add two numbers? We can also multiply it by using this operator, star. I have to run it, and 25. 5 into 5, it's 25. Now we are using variables, so we can change here, change the variable here, and we'll give it 15 into 75. Cool. We can multiply two bigger numbers. We can also divide. To divide, we use this operator. So it's this output. Okay, this was about whole numbers. Now let's talk about doubles. Talk about doubles, we'll change the number and add a dot. This is how we represent a double, a float. Okay, float and doubles are similar. So I'll run it and we get 11.5 as an output. What if I add 11.5? 5.55. We get an output as 11.05. So this was doubles. We can add and multiply doubles also. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about how to take input. Now let's create a calculator, a simple calculator, in which user will give two numbers and we just need to multiply the two numbers. Okay. So as you know, to take input, we type input and then enter x like this, and we just need to multiply it. So let's go and run. So x is 5 and 5. Now we get an error. Why? Because I told you, input returns an string. Okay, so if I'm talking about, if I gave input as 5, this is visual, this is stored as this, but to multiply we need to store 5 like this. Now how to do this, how to convert string to integer? You don't need to do anything, you just need to add a function int like this. You just need to wrap this input into integer. Same thing here. So now whatever input the user is giving, it will be converted to int and will be stored in num1. So run this, enter x5. Okay. So here we have our output as 5 into 5 as 25. So now we can give any number. For example, 567, 765, and it will give us the output. But what if I want to multiply doubles like 4.5? It's giving me an error. But why? Because we are trying to convert a double into integer. So to do so, what we need to do is type float in front of it. Okay. So to represent double, we use float. To represent decimal numbers, for example, numbers like this, if we want to convert it, we use float. Okay. Just run it. Now we can add decimal number. Okay, sorry. So in this, I have multiplied x and y, which was 5.67 and 2.7. So this is how you can create a calculator for integer, for double. Double means float. Okay. So now let's talk about Boolean values. So I have a variable 1 in which you can store true. I have another variable named 2 in which you can store false. Now I'll print it. 1. Let's see what output I get. I get true. We'll talk about Boolean data types in another video when we discuss about control statements. Now let's move back to strings. So strings can be represented with double quotes as well as single quotes. So strings can be represented with double quotes as well as single quotes. You can use the way you want. We can print, for now, string is empty. If I type Leo, run it, string has this, and etc. etc. thing. Also, you can find out how many characters are there in the string. To do so, you just have to type len and then the variable name and just run it. The string has 3 characters, L, E, and O. If I add another, it will give me 6 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, so as we progress further, we'll talk about strings, numbers, and etc. things in detail. For now, you need to understand just this. A string can be represented like this, and we can print it. We can also add two strings. For example, we have string 2, which has this is a string. So we can print both of the strings. For example, string 1 plus string 2. So this has, like this, we can combine the strings. Now, up till now, we were just talking about two variables, okay? In the program, we had only two variables, but we can have multiple variables in our program. How to do it? So you can have another variable, string 3, in which you can add string 1 plus string 2. So let's see what string 3 has. So if you run this, string 3 has this, which was same as this. And also you can add another variable, for example, a space at the ending, space or cool. And also we can combine like this so that it looks better. See, we added in space here. Cool. Same thing we can do with numbers. For example, we have number 1, num1, which will store 5, num2, which will store 5, num3, which will store num1 plus num2. And now I'll try to print num3. So you can already guess what's the output. So it's 10. Remember, if I did this, now 5 becomes a string. So it becomes 55. Operations on number, we need to store it like this. And we can have multiple variables. For example, we can have num4, which will store num1 into num2. Now let's print num4. It's 25. It's the sum. We can do like this. Okay, now we get an error. But why? Because we are trying to add an integer into a string. So we cannot add an integer, which is 5, which is stored in num1, to a string. Then how can I print it? I want to print something like this is equal to the sum, which is 10. I want to print something like this, or multiplication is equal to 25. What you can do is add an F here and just remove this. We cannot add it. And in this brackets, you can type the numbers, type the variables like this. Now let's see the output. Now you can see we are getting the expected output. So in this way, you can print string as well as numbers. You can also do, now what I can do is, you can do expressions here. You can also add 5 here. Okay, cool. I hope you understand this video. You get it, what I was trying to tell. Comment if you don't understand anything. And thank you so much for watching. Let's meet in another video in which we are going to talk about control statements. Have a nice day. Bye bye.